recording. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. Happy July 5th. Are you having a good time? I'm having a good time. I feel like 2020 was made for me. It's like Apocalypse Now. The urban edition. This could be my chance. Emery, how was your picnic? I got to talk to you. I had a picnic. I made what did I make? I made pulled pork. And may I say, inspired by you, Emery. Inspired by you because you took all those delicious things to your picnic. They still only ate the hot dogs and hamburgers at my place, except for my dear sweet sister-in-law. She put the pulled pork on her burger. See, that's how she does it. She brings the worlds together. She's like, look, I can still love boring food that we always have every single time at our picnics. And I can try a little bit of Sage's pulled pork on my burger. See, that's the beauty of my sister-in-law. Good morning, Jeanette. How the heck are you people? I sincerely do hope that you are learning a lot. It was good, although my sister complained about the lack of hot dogs. You're kidding me, right? You're not kidding. I knew it. I'm telling you, Emery, there is a weird thing going on in the white world that we got a fascination about hot dogs. And in fact, now, okay, here we go. Here it is. I'm just going to lay it out for you. You know how, like, we can take our 5-year-olds to the bloodiest, goriest movie, but you show somebody's naked butt to your 5-year-old and parents are melting in fear and trepidation? And then we have hot dogs. I'm just saying. Who invented a hot dog? You know, it's not like it's the shape of a dog. It's not the shape that it comes out. We literally made penises. I'm just going to say it. Alec, my brother. What is up, my brother? Alec. It's great to see you, buddy. Why did we make penises? Hot dogs. Like 99 cents for 8 of them. They're everywhere. Just put them all over your grill. You can boil them, you can grill them, you can fry them, just as long as you get a hot dog. Where's the hot dogs? Says Emery's sister. I brought you some ribs and pork. I need a hot dog. I don't understand white people. I don't understand it. Eat some frickin' ribs, Emery's sister. How about this? One holiday you don't eat a hot dog. You stop putting penises in your mouth. How about it? Try it. You might like it. I don't understand our fascination with hot dogs. Did Freud talk about hot dogs? I bet he did. I bet he wrote a whole book on hot dogs and why Americans love them. I don't get it. I do not get our fascination with hot dogs. White people's fascination that are so afraid of boobs and butts jamming hot dogs down their throat all day. Every frickin' holiday. I don't understand it. Look. This is the kind of quality entertainment you come to expect when you come to Sunday Morning with Sage. Seriously, we have to talk about serious things. I don't understand hot dogs. We had hot dogs. I think just sausages, the big hot dog. No. We had hot dogs. I forgot, of course. We brought out hot dogs. We had hot dogs, sausages, and hamburgers. And 8 pounds of pulled pork I cooked for 36 hours. No one ate it except my wife, my sister-in-law, and me. Because, don't be stupid, Sage. Nobody eats pulled pork on at a picnic. We eat hot dogs. eat hot dogs. Get me you got more penises? You got them? I need them. Let's put them on a bun. Lather them up and, penises. I don't understand white people. I don't get it, man. Anyways. Look. If you want to say something collectively racist, white people love hot dogs. That's all I'm saying. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Does anybody else love hot dogs more than white men? Anybody? Is there anyone on planet Earth that loves hot dogs more than white men? Children love hot dogs. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Okay, my wife. Jesus, children. Okay, you got me there. Kids love them. Yeah, we had chicken and ribs. There you go. No wieners here. Our champ from 875. Our champ from 875 yesterday. Children do love them. Okay, you're right. And grown white men. They love them. Just don't show them a butt of any human, especially not a man butt. They'll have to go to therapy. They can't look at man butts, white men. They sure can eat a hot dog. We need to talk about John Brown, ladies and gentlemen. We need it. We need it. You need it. You need it. Okay. Now look. I am going to try to make this interesting, okay? Because you need to understand John Brown. Chicken and ribs. See, was it barbecue? Joey's just... Was it barbecue chicken, Alec? Or did you just grill raw, like plain chicken with no sauce? That's how we eat our chicken around here in our white parts. We don't use sauce. Ruins the purity of the bland chicken. Anyways, I went to this phallic symbol yesterday. What is it? This phallic symbol was created by some sort of strange German group, and apparently, according to the guide and historian, we don't know why the German people made this this huge penis for. See, I thought I was going to talk about John Brown. And apparently I'm just going to talk about penises all day. Look, I don't know. I don't make this stuff up. I'm just reporting the news. A German group put this amazing monument to our hometown hero, John Brown. Here it is, not centered correctly. This is it. John Brown. Okay, hold on. Wait, let me see if I can tell you who this is from. Okay. Can you see that? The German oh my God. Okay. See? Okay, maybe it's the Germans. They love their beer and hot dogs. I kid you not, they built this, and then they put a plaque on it that, I kid you not, says, erected by... Erected by is the word? Okay, look. I don't have the biggest vocabulary on planet Earth, but could you use the word built by? Why did you need to put a huge penis up with the sign that said, probably by the people that created it, erected by the German-American Alliance in August of 18 what? August what? August who? August, damn, I can't freaking read that number. I can't read the number. I don't know when it was. John Brown died in, I think, 1859 by a strange occurrence of when a rope goes around your neck and they drop you out of the bottom of a plank. Surprisingly. Oh, 1910. Yeah, okay, it says, I think, August 21st, 1910. Okay, so, barbecue, yeah, but what is Joey Chestnut? I don't even know what you're talking about, Alec. I don't even know what that is. Okay, I think it says August 21st, 1910. So, and I believe the historian said that when they unveiled their erected penis, 5,000 people showed up. 5,000 people. Now, if you will notice, this thing has been abused, okay? It has been abused. If you notice to the right here, somebody loves April. I love April. Great. Thanks for letting us know. I hope that marriage is still worked out. You fucking had to carve the words I love April into the John Brown statue? You couldn't have just used paint? I mean, that's some serious love. True love. True love. I love April. I'm so glad. Who are you? And what's April doing these days? So help me God, if you two broke up, I'm going to be really pissed. Really pissed. You better have married that bitch. You better have. If you're going to put that kind of commitment on the John Brown statue where you chisel it out, you two better have had an idyllic, happily ever after life. That's all I have to say. Other carvings on here you can't really make out. I don't know what's going on here. Unfortunately, I did not see a swastika. That was good. Those guys with their swastikas, they love coming around chiseling into stone. I don't know. That swastika was a great evil thing. The Nazis did not invent the swastika. It was some Hindu thing, I think, or something. I don't know. But man, it's burned into our brain. And it's amazing because anybody can chisel it into stone, write it on a wall. It's one of the great icons of history. I'm not the Nazis are a terrible, disgusting cockroach on society, and we couldn't have murdered enough of them. But damn, that symbol was catchy. You can't deny it. They say, this historian that led the tour yesterday said that John Brown is the most consequential Summit County resident to ever live. Lived from 1800 to 1859. There he is. He grew out his beard after he butchered a family in Kansas, I think it was. I think it was Kansas. Was it Kansas? I think it was Kansas. We'll learn more about that here in a minute. Because, when you butcher a family, people come looking for you. They do. They do. I'm just saying. It doesn't matter if the family was a racist piece of shit family or not. They're still pissed. They're still pissed that you butchered them. Literally, that was the word that the historian said. It says, he died to set his brothers free. His soul goes marching on. Dedicated September 25th, 1938 by the Negro 25-Year Club of Akron, Ohio. Negro 25-Year Club. Am I allowed to say the word Negro if I read it on the thing? I won't ever say the N-word, but am I allowed to say Negro? I don't know. Please tell me if I'm wrong. Had to be a Akron, Ohio resident for 25 years. Pretty cool club. Why don't we start it up again? We can freshen up the name. We don't have to call it the Negro 25-Year Club. We can call it like I'm not going to name things. I'm just opening up a potential where I'm going to, say something totally stupid. I don't know. You come up with a name. It was a fountain. This actually was a fountain here. Fortunately, the copper insignia is still there. I don't know how that really happened. It was built in stages. So the Germans erected this penis in 1910, and then they used the word, honey. I'm just saying, it's on their sign. They erected it, and then I think the 25-Year Negro Club came along and built everything around it. Now, what's interesting is these are all found objects. So, like this column, the actual penis part of the penis was, I think, taken from a column of the, I think, City Hall. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, Jane Piper. Hey, Jane. I didn't scroll. Okay. Oh, Nathan's dog eating competition. What? 75. Joey Chestnut ate 75 penises yesterday? Damn, Joey Chestnut, you go, boy. All right. Not only do we white people love hot dogs, we love eating as many as we can in the shortest amount of time. There's something weird going on with white men and hot dogs, okay? I wish somebody would look into it. Just don't show them a butt of a naked man. They'll just melt. Are Germans Quakers? Quakers were big advocates. I think it could be. Yeah. David Rucker in the house. What should I say no to, David? David Rucker, a friend of mine from elementary school. It's good to see you, sir. This is gut ja. I don't know what that means, Dale. Is that a new language, Dale? Dale is here for the heckling part of the show, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what his role will be today, so we're all in for a treat of his intellectual cleverness. I think. I don't know. Are you there, Dale? I think you are. I'm not sure. Anyways, here I am with my friend Howard Carter. Howard Carter is he definitely was a revolutionary, says Kevin, but I'll never condone the bloodshed. Oh, here we go. Here you go. This is what I came for. I would never condone the bloodshed. Though it is a drop in the bucket compared to war that followed. Even Brown disagreed with his own violence. Really? He did? He disagreed with it? Writing his pastor that he knew he would be going to hell. No. You're going to have, no, that says a lot about one's character. No, Kevin, no. Bad Kevin. Sit, Kevin, sit. No, that's not true at all. Okay, this is, do not reconstruct history, Mr. Fay. Okay, this is from the Smithsonian. John Brown was a judgmental asshole Calvinist. In fact, it's opposite. He believed that it was God himself that was sending John Brown on a warpath to murder slavery people. Okay? This is probably one of the best articles I've read about John Brown and Smithsonian because it's not too hoity-toity, it's very thorough, and I don't get a sense that it's like biased in any kind of way. I really don't. John Brown, yeah, this is it. You guys got to learn about John Brown. I am going to jam this into your skull today, and I'm going to try to do it in the most entertaining way so that you will learn about the most consequential Akronite in the history of Akronites, which makes me mad because I want to be the most consequential Akronite, and I'll never do it. You know why? Because I can't start the Civil War. I mean, I could. Civil War 2.0. Could I do that? I don't know. I'm not going to ever be as good as John Brown. Okay. Here we go. Harpers Ferry, Virginia lay sleeping in the night of October 16th, 1859. John Brown going to be hanging by a rope any minute now, trust me. As 19 heavily armed men stole down mist-shrouded bluffs along the Potomac River, where it joins the Shenandoah. Their leader, a rail-thin 59-year-old man with a shock of graying hair and penetrating steel gray eyes. That's what I need somebody to say, am I? Yes, with a shock of baldness down the middle of his head like a pasty skunk. And washed out, almost once upon a time blue eyes. His name was John Brown. Some of those who strode across a covered railway bridge from Maryland into Virginia were callow farm boys. Others were seasoned veterans from the guerrilla war in disputed Kansas. I think we're going to get into disputed Kansas where he butchered those people. Didn't this happen? Yes, it happened before the Civil War. He started the Civil War. I am so glad you'd ask, Christopher. 18 months before the first shot was Harper's Ferry, yo. Frankfurts were invented in Germany. Hot dogs in the 1600s. Just saying. Yep. I'm telling you, there's something weird about white men and hot dogs. I'm just saying. I mean, couldn't we made them like patties or something? Like, why did we need to make them into penises? All right. Among them were Brown's youngest sons, Watson and Oliver. He had 20 kids. Half lived, honestly. The fugitive slave from Charleston, South Carolina, an African-American student at Oberlin College. Go, Oberlin! Go, Oberlin! A pair of Quaker brothers from Iowa who abandoned their pacifist beliefs to follow Brown. Suck it, pacifists. And former slave from Virginia and men from Connecticut. Yeah, and a few men from Connecticut. Those poor suckers are like, and a bunch of other people that died and got hung, whatever. That's still unfortunate. They don't even get a name. It was, literally, 19 people? We can't even list all their names. They had come to Harper's Ferry to make war on slavery. The raid that Sunday night, please keep an eye on the date. It is Sunday night, October 16th, 1859. Probably a lovely day for a raid. Would be the most daring instance on record of white men entering a southern state to incite a slave rebellion. In military terms, barely a skirmish, but the incident electrified the nation. Also created in John Brown, a figure who after a century and a half remains one of the most emotive touchdowns in our racial history, lionized by some Americans and loathed by others. If you are indifferent, stop being indifferent. Brown's mantle has been claimed by figures as diverse as Malcolm X, Timothy McVeigh, socialist leader Eugene Debs, and abortion protesters espousing violence. Americans do not deliberate about John Brown, they feel him, says Dennis Fry, the National Park Service chief historian at Harper's Ferry. He is still alive today in the American soul. He represents something for each of us, but none of us is in agreement about what he means. This is why we must think about John Brown, because he is so relevant right now. Read up on Bloody Kansas, Harper's Ferry. Ironically, in one of his last acts as a Union general, Robert E. Lee put down Harper's Ferry raid and captured John Brown and his followers. Yes, that's correct. In fact, very important people, as we're going to learn, came together at this incredible juncture in history. Really very interesting. Not just Robert E. Lee, but other very important characters that are going to be playing out an important role later on in history. Yes, indeed. Okay, we must have an opinion on John Brown. Okay? Now, we must have an opinion while not making up lies about history. The impact of Harper's Ferry quite literally transformed the nation, as Harvard historian John Stauffer, author of The Black Hearts of Men, Radical Abolitionist Transformation of Race, could shorten his title. The tide of anger that flowed from Harper's Ferry traumatized Americans of all persuasions, terrorizing Southerners with the fear of massive slave rebellion and radicalizing countless Northerners who had hoped that violent confrontation over slavery could be indefinitely postponed. Please, if we just beg you not to enslave people, would you please do it? We don't want to hurt people. We're too chicken shit. We are chicken shit, in fact. We are not even the chicken, we're just the shit of the chicken because we're too scared to do anything. Before Harper's Ferry, leading politicians believed that the widening division between the North and South would eventually yield to compromise. Yes, if we just beg long enough. After it, the chasm appeared unbridgeable. Harper's Ferry splintered the Democratic Party, scrambled the leadership of the Republicans, and produced the conditions that enabled Republican Abraham Lincoln to defeat 2 Democrats and a third-party candidate who, don't you even worry who that ever was, in the presidential election of 1860. So, let me tell you something. This Akronite who lived in Akron at Diagonal Road in Copley for 10 years, you know the place, straight across the street from that really cool apartment building that some of you live in. I don't know if you don't live there, Alec. I don't think. But other people that come to the show do. He started the Civil War, and he got Abraham Lincoln elected. Pretty much any historian would probably say, yeah, that's probably true. Had John Brown raid not occurred, it is very possible that the 1860 election would have been a regular 2-party contest between anti-slavery Republicans and pro-slavery Democrats, says City University New York historian David Reynolds, author of John Brown Abolitionist. The Democrats, who were the evil assholes of the time, and still are evil assholes, they just lie about it today, probably would have won since Lincoln received just 40% of the popular vote, around 1 million votes less than his 3 opponents. Well, he split the vote. While the Democrats split over slavery, Republican candidates such as William Seward were tarnished by their association with abolitionists. And get this, Lincoln at the time was regarded as one of the party's more conservative options. He says John Brown was, in effect, a hammer that shattered Lincoln's opponents into fragments, says Reynolds, because Brown helped to disrupt the party system. Lincoln was carried to victory, which in turn led 7 states to secede from the Union, which in turn led to the Civil War. And all that Lincoln ever said was, but the Union, I just want the Union. I don't even give a crap about slaves, just the Union. That's all he gave a crap about, which ironically led to the Civil War. Well, in the 20th century, it was common to dismiss Brown as an irrational fanatic or worse. In the rousing pro-South 1940 classic film Santa Fe Trail, actor Raymond Macy portrayed him as a wild-eyed madman. I don't know anything about wild-eyed madmen, but the civil rights movement and a more thoughtful acknowledgement of the nation's racial problems have occasioned a more nuanced view. Brown was thought mad because he crossed the line of permissible dissent. He was willing to sacrifice his life for the cause of blacks, and for this in a culture that was simply marinated in racism, and he was called mad. Yes, he was. I'm having a hard time believing our Indian name is in jeopardy. Wow. What, are you talking about the Cleveland Indians? Are you talking about the Cleveland Indians, man? Yeah, it's in jeopardy. It's... Dude! When I worked at the... When I worked at Ritz-Carlton, these super wealthy Native American chiefs would come and stay. And I would get to talk to them because every year they would protest the Cleveland Indians. It's terrible. I've been seeing on Reddit some clever names. What was it? Somebody said, how about the Clevelanders? I like that. Damn, there were some really funny ones. I can't remember. Anyways, yeah, we got to get rid of it, Alec. It's terrible. It's okay, bro. Do you know, can you even name the name of the stadium where the basketball team plays anymore? We change that name like every other month. Whoever pays the most gets the new name of that stadium. We change names all the time. No big deal. It's no big deal. You're not going to be hurt by it, and Native Americans are going to feel better, so it's fine. Brown was a hard man, to be sure, built for times of trouble and fitted to grapple with the flintiest hardships, in the words of his close friend and African-American orator, Frederick frickin' Douglass. Bam! He was friends with Frederick frickin' Douglass, one of the most badass people in all of history. Brown felt a profound and lifelong empathy with the plight of slaves. He stood apart from every other white in the historical record in his ability to burst free from the power of racism, says Stauffer. Blacks were among his closest friends, and in some respects, he felt more comfortable around blacks than he did around whites. That's how I feel about homeless people. Washington Redskins should keep their name. Oh, yeah, to the potato. That's what it was, Jane. Yeah. Yes. Just change the name to potato, or the picture to the potato, and we're good. Alec, the Cleveland Wizards. Fine. Let's call them the Wizards. Let's call them whatever. Just look, we have ideas that seem okay at one point in time in history, and then they're not okay later on. We don't need to double down on our stupidity. We learn, we change our names. We still get a baseball team. Who gives a crap? You're right, Jane. Frickin' change it to a potato. The Washington Redskins, they're done. They're done. They're done. It's problem solved. Okay, good. All right. Brown was born with the century in 1800 in Connecticut and raised by loving, if strict, parents who believed, as many did, if not most, in the era, that righteous punishment was an instrument of the divine. He was a Calvinist, okay? Hard-ass asshole, okay? When he was a small boy, the Browns moved west in I didn't even get this, everybody, west in an ox-drawn wagon to the raw wilderness of Frontier, Ohio, settling in, the town of Hudson. I think there are roughly, what did he say yesterday? About a dozen believed places on the Underground Railroad in Hudson. Hudson is an important place in the history of abolitionists. My man, frickin' Brown, living in Hudson. Now it's just for hoity-toity rich people, but whatever. Probably because Brown hung out with a lot of hoity-toity rich people. You're going to hear about that in a minute. Where they became known as friends to the rapidly diminishing population of Native Americans. Like that. Brown moved west, where they became known as friends to the rapidly diminishing population of Native Americans and as abolitionists who were always ready to help fugitive slaves. So he's down with Native Americans and he's down with anti-slavery. Like many restless 19th century Americans, Brown tried many professions, failing at some and succeeding modestly at others. Now, the Summit County Historical Society likes to tell you that he was the greatest sheep herder to ever walk Earth. He was fine. He did help bring sheep. He brought international trade of sheep over to Europe, which, fine. I believe in this guy's thing. He was failing at some and succeeding modestly at others. Farmer, tanner, surveyor, and wool merchant. He married twice. His first wife died from illness, and in all fathered 20 children, almost half of whom died in infancy. 3 more would die in the war against slavery. 3 of his kids died in the war against slavery. Brown, who believes was rooted in strict Calvinism, was convinced that he had been predestined to, now listen to this, predestined to bring an end to slavery, which he believed with burning certitude it was a sin against God. In his youth, both he and his father, Owen Brown, had served as conductors on the Underground Railroad. He had denounced racism within his own church, where African Americans were required to sit in the back and shock neighbors. Can you believe this? By dining with blacks and even going so far as addressing them as Mr. and Mrs. Douglas, that's Frederick frickin' Douglass to you, once described Brown as a man who, though white gentleman, is in sympathy a black man and is deeply interested in our cause, as though his own soul had been pierced with the iron of slavery. God bless America for Frederick frickin' Douglass. Thought about the Raiders. They were pirates, ruthless, one-eyed. Well, look, is it oppressing pirates? Okay, Alec, if pirates feel oppressed by the name Raiders with that patch guy, then yes, I guess we should change it. But I would imagine pirates are cool with it. It's about being sensitive to the people that you're mocking. Okay? The Raiders, look, let's go look at the Raiders. Okay, look, see, look. There, here it is. Okay, so here's the Raiders. You see it? Do you see it? It's a football guy with a swashbuckling thing and a thing. Now, yes, pirates are evil people. Now, I would suppose if a person came forward and said, pirates hurt me, and we're like, oh, geez. How about peaches? Did a peach hurt you? Well, not me personally, but I know somebody that's allergic to them. Okay, okay. Potatoes. The Redskins are thinking about taking the potato icon. What do you think of potatoes? Well, they're kind of hard to cook and they take a long time. It's challenging, okay? All this is challenging, but it doesn't hurt Pirates. I think a lot of people are like this. I have not ever heard of a pirate being like, they're what do they call it? They're appropriating my people. Cleveland Indians. See, now, look. Cleveland Indians, look. Do you see this? Do you know what this guy's name is? Chief Motherfrickin' Wahoo. Okay? Chief Wahoo. This is a caricature, and if you can't see that this is making fun of Native Americans, you're one of those people that can't see color that we got to talk to. This is mocking Native Americans. Okay? It's mocking them. This is why we have to change it. That's all. We got to stop wearing this thing on our shirt. Because you know why? Pirates were into slavery. Oh. Yeah, well, maybe they got to go too. Look, we can rename all of our teams. Native Americans are really good. Why don't we rename everything Native American or African American? We should stop naming things after white people. That I know for sure. Look, white people have gotten everything named after them forever. Forever. I get it. I don't need anything named after more white people. Okay? Just stop. Find some African Americans. How about some nice Asians? How about those Japanese Americans that we had to put in concentration camps because we were scared of them during World War II? How about we name something after a few of those people? White people, we gotta just share it. Stop hogging all the good stuff, white people. Gee, many Christmas. I don't know why I have to keep yelling about this. I don't know what the problem is. White people are so insecure. It's the hot dogs. It's because they can eat 75 hot dogs in one sitting. They got problems. Why are the Clevelands named the Browns? Good question. Let's go see. Let's see if they have something really offensive. Browns. Okay. Here we have a picture. There is no icon. It's actually a nice orange. I think these guys are good to go. I mean, they suck as a team, but I love them for that. You know, they're tryhards. I'm not really a sports guy, but you see how this is good? They're called the Browns. I don't think it's racist, and I think it's just like, here's a color that's kind of nice, brown. We're going to make an orange helmet. And we're good, right? Everybody good? Are we all good? Anybody got an offense? Would you like another color? We're gonna pick. Yeah, okay, everybody, this is how the whole discussion went, I'm pretty sure. Okay, guys, we're gonna pick a name for our football team, and it's gonna be, we're gonna pick a color. Okay, I know colors are provocative. A lot of people have a lot of emotions about colors, but we're just doing it. I recommend brown. And everybody's like, boo, brown, we want white. No, we want yellow. Yeah, we can't have yellow. It's kind of, I know, that's race. I'm sorry. Okay, I got an idea. We're gonna pick the word brown, but we're gonna actually use orange as the color. And people are like, I guess, whatever. See, look, how about the Ravens? See, you can't go wrong by naming your team after a frickin' bird. See? Look at this. They've kind of mocked the Raven. They've turned him purple or blue or whatever. But he's fierce looking. He's a fierce Raven. And I haven't heard from the Raven Coalition that this is a problem. It could be from John Brown. I don't really know. I recommend naming your teams after birds. Most people don't have a problem with birds. Or you know who's really good, people never complained about? The bears. See the bears? See? See, you got a bear. See? See? And then they use a C. I think Chicago Bears. See? C for Chicago. See? His name is Paul Brown, now called Ravens. Cleveland came together like we do Browns. Oh. Alec actually knows. I was named after Paul Brown. Problem solved. Ruby-throated tit. Is that what you want us to rename the Indians to? See? All right. Jane likes to stir it up. I recommend the ruby-throated tit. Let me go see what a ruby-throated tit looks like. Let me go see that. Is that really the name of a bird? Ruby-throated tit. Let's see. Oh, he's cute. Oh, he's angry as hell. Look at this guy. Okay. Yeah. Let somebody go after the ruby-throated tit. This guy's fierce. Look at him. I'm terrified. Totally good. This is actually I think this is the black-throated bush tit. Yeah. He looks good. Woo! Yeah, somebody pick up this name quick before it's gone. Somebody become the black-throated tit. Bush tit. Let's just be called the bush tits. Come on. Cleveland Indians should change their name to the Cleveland Bush Tits. Now that is quality naming. Okay, Jesus. Okay. In 1848, do you remember we were talking about John Brown? Back to it. 1848, a wealthy abolitionist, Gerrit Smith, encouraged Brown and his family to live on land Smith had bestowed on black settlers in northern New York. Tucked away in the Adirondack Mountains, Brown concocted a plan to liberate slaves in numbers of never before attempted. A subterranean passageway, the Underground Railroad writ large, would stretch through the Allegheny and Appalachian Mountains, linked by a chain of forts manned by armed abolitionists and free blacks. These warriors would raid plantations and run fugitives north to Canada. The goal was to destroy the value of slave property. See, this is the beauty of John Brown. He understood business. He knew that he could not free 4 million people, but he felt that he could ruin the economy of slavery because he understood business. Pretty clever. The goal was to destroy the value of slave property. This scheme would form the template for Harper's Ferry raid, and as Fry, under different circumstances, could have succeeded. Brown knew that he couldn't free 4 million people, but he understood economics and how much money was invested in slaves. There would be a panic, property values would dive, and the slave economy would collapse. Second chance, always next year. Brownies, much love. Truth. So it says, I never can see. Replying to Kevin. Okay. Harper's Ferry typically well covered in lead up to the Civil War. Bloody Kansas hit miss in cursory courses. Basically, slave owners and abolitionists raided and murdered one another before the vote for statehood, as whichever faction got more votes determined whether Kansas would be a slave state. Yes. Now you're on to something. We're going to get to Kansas. Kansas is, I think, the spark. I think Kansas is the spark. So, pushed Northerners. Okay, this is it. This is what's important. Political events in 1850 turned Brown from a fierce, if essentially garden variety abolitionist into a man willing to take up arms, even die for his cause. For, the Fugitive Slave Law of 1850. This is important. Much important. The Fugitive Slave Law of 1850, which imposed draconian penalties on anyone caught helping a runaway and required all citizens to cooperate in the capture of fugitive slaves. It enraged Brown and other abolitionists. So in 1854, another act of Congress pushed still more Northerners beyond their limits of tolerance. Under pressure from the Southern from the South and its Democratic allies in the North, Congress opened the territories of, what you guys said, Kansas and Nebraska to slavery under a concept called popular sovereignty. The more northern Nebraska was in danger of becoming a slave state. Kansas, however, was up for grabs. Pro-slavery advocates, the meanest and most desperate of men, armed to the teeth with, now we're talking about pro-slavery people here, with revolvers, Bowie knives, rifles, and cannons, while they are not only thoroughly organized, but under pay from slaveholders. So slaveholders are paying these revolver, Bowie knife, rifle, cannon people. John Brown Jr. wrote to his father, poured into Kansas from Missouri. Anti-slavery settlers begged for guns and reinforcements. Among the thousands of abolitionists who left their farms, workshops, or schools to respond to the call were John Brown and 5 of his sons. They did it. Brown himself arrived in Kansas in October 1855, driving a wagon loaded with rifles he picked up in Ohio and Illinois, determined, he said, to help defeat Satan and his legions. Again, I need to clear up anything that was said. He was, at this point, out for blood, and he believed it was ordained by God that he do it. Do not whitewash John Brown in ever thinking that he was some sort of pansy, non-violent person. Do not ever whitewash John Brown that way. Do not. Because you see, what happened is, the problem we have here is this fugitive state law. Okay? All right? And so, look, I am an activist. The kind they set up in the, garden variety. What did they call him? He would have just been a garden variety activist or whatever. That's me. I'm a garden variety activist yelling about whatever I yell about. Usually I like to yell about homelessness, but I just mostly yell. I yell. I make fun of people because that is kind of like terrorism of the mind and heart, without actually physically hurting people. So here's the thing. I have no problem with violence. No problem. However, strategically, very risky, high danger of failure and isolation. I personally do not believe that you should try to build a campaign around hurting and murdering other people because it pisses off a lot of people. Okay? You should also know that when I think about violent uprising, it only starts when you start hurting and murdering people. Violence, in my mind, is not spray painting a statue. It is not blowing up Mount Rushmore, which Native Americans, if you guys want to go blow up Mount Rushmore, good luck. I think you have every right to do it. I'm not doing it. I'm too lazy. It's way far away. I don't know anything about blowing things up. I'm not doing it, and I'm not telling you should do it. But if it happened, whatever. Because it's just a bunch of rock. Okay, everybody? You guys got to get some freaking perspective. When they tear down a statue, who cares? Who cares they're tearing down statues? The statue should be torn down. Now look, when they make a mistake, as you're going to see, there are going to be some mistakes coming up here in Harper's Ferry in a minute. Wrong statue. You got to be like, dudes, you're just tearing down statues to tear down statues. You got to pick and choose the ones. We want to tear down Confederate statues. Tear them down. I'm not going. My wife says I can't go to jail until Indiana leaves, gets out of high school. I got 3 more years. I'm not allowed to go to jail. Okay? But then she's like, whatever then. I don't care. I'm done with you. I don't know. She needs me to do the dishes. I do the laundry and the dishes. How can I do the laundry and the dishes if I'm in jail? That's the question. Okay? I don't see graffiti, stickers, statue demolishing, or even taking your aggressions out on a random target every once in a while. That's not violence. That's not violence. That's just having fun. Kids having fun. Hey, Robin. Now, again, you got to think strategically, people. When you're angry, okay, so the police murder your friend, you're super angry, go burn down the police station. Do it. They let you do it, and then ransack the target next door. It's fine. But that's not strategy. That's just catharsis. That's not you winning anything. You're never going to get what you want just by burning crap down. Okay? You're not. And what I'm seeing right now is people don't, at least in Akron, have a real clear structure of what they want. I know. I am listening to my wife. Trust me. Happy wife, happy life. Yes. So that's not strategy. The problem we have is, what do you guys want? You don't want to, what? You want the police to disappear? Really? Really? Is that what you want? That you want them to just disappear? No, you don't. No, you don't. You want to call that 911 when people be knocking on your door, wanting to burn crosses and shit in your yard. You want that. You know you do. You want reform, okay? You probably want to take some of the money that goes to police and redirect it to other services, like mental health providers and homeless service providers and social workers and crap wandering around the streets without guns and billy clubs. That's what you want, right? Isn't it what you want? I don't know what you want. I don't even care. I want to support whatever you want. Look, if you say you want to take all, you want no more police, fine. Let's do it. Let's play that game. Let's just see how it goes. I don't think it's a good idea, but whatever. I'm just a white guy who has a lot of benefit from police. Maybe it's worth it to you. I don't know. Yes. Racism begins from childhood. My first best friend is black. I once an apron star. Never seen any different. There you go. See, I actually had some really powerful role models growing up that were African American that gave me a lot of respect and quite frankly, a connection to African Americans. Really wonderful how role models. The Freedom Block, yes, is an Akron organization that has a clip. Yes, Tessa. So, should I pull those up? Maybe. Why not? Where are you going? Whatever. I'm just going to keep talking until I'm bored. You might have to do something else. We're going to look at the Freedom Block right now. We're going to look at the Freedom Block. We're going over to Facebook, and we're going to look at it. I like the Freedom Block very much. The Freedom Block. Hold on. The Freedom Block. Let's go over here. Freedom Block. I'm a big fan. They've come out with these early on. Where are they? Pictures. Show them the Freedom Block picture. Come on. These people are busy. There they are. Okay, so let me make this as big as I can for you. Okay, so here are the Freedom Block demands of our citizens. We demand that our local elected officials begin to invest in public safety of black Akronites by investing more in impoverished black communities. Yeah, right, Tessa? And divesting in non-healthy safety practices and divesting. That's a big word. That means getting rid of, I think, in non-healthy safety practices that have proven not to work, such as over-policing. Okay, so, and then they have these 5 demands. 1, state and local lawmakers ensure that the police are patrolling the black community, are from a similar black community, or have intensive or extensive cultural competency training. Yes. They are patrolling at least 10 hours a month. Okay. 2, the deputy mayor, city council, and police chief work with community leaders and black mental health agencies to develop, prove, and make mandatory mental health training for all APD in order to ensure that our mental health population is treated with dignity and respect. Awesome. They're really into trauma-informed care over here at the Freedom Block, of which I am a huge fan. 3, we want 25% of the police budget to go to prevention programs in the inner city and that asset forfeiture program, money and property seized from illegal activities, be widely publicized because they're stealing shit all the time from inner city people. All the freaking time. You know they are, right? To ensure that the folks on the front line doing the work have the necessary resources to make our community better. See, look how encompassing and so inclusive those, it's not anti-police hate. They're like, we need to give police officers mental health training. We need to give them the resources to make our community better. It's wonderful. These are really important objectives. I'm checking out the Freedom Block. Yes, 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 yes. Please do. Please do. Number 4, we're demanding that the police auditor be given the necessary tools to investigate properly and discipline rogue police officers, and that a community civilian review board is made up of civilians from each ward and instituted immediately. These tools include, but not limited to, subpoena power and disciplinary power to ensure that the black community is able to build trust that rogue officers will be disciplined and removed from black communities where they have done harm. Perfect. Good enough. It's fine. If you haven't seen 1922, please do. I learn more in that movie. Okay, I'll check it out, Alex. Thank you. These are wonderful. They're wonderful. Okay? These are wonderful. Let's just go with these. We don't need to debate them anymore. We don't need to talk about them anymore. These are fine. Let's get these done. Now, if we all got behind the Freedom Block, and now we're going to now camp out in front of City Hall until you start working with us on these demands, or we're going to spray paint the front of City Hall until you start working with us on these demands, or we're going to camp out in the mayor's lawn until you start working with us on these demands. Now you got a good program. You see what I'm saying? But if you're just going to go around marching all day, and you're just going to go around tearing stuff down all day without a flyer, if you're not handing out a flyer where you're tearing stuff down, you're just doing like trauma therapy, which is fine, but it's not good. Like, it's not helpful ultimately. You know what I'm saying? But also, on the other side of the whole coin, if nobody's willing to talk to you and work on these issues with you, you got to ratchet it up. You got to turn up the dial, baby. You got to turn up the volume. Okay? Now, my recommendation is you all go over to the Amazon. This is what you do, not the forest. Although if you want to go to the Amazon forest, I'm sure it's lovely. I've never been. And you get this book called something Revolution. I can't remember. Sorry, I'm eating a hot dog. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Milosevic. Google, no. Milosevic Revolution leaders. I'll get there in a minute. So, there was a group that overthrew Slobodan Milosevic, okay? And incidentally, it said, who really brought down Milosevic? Really great read, everybody. If you want to learn about turning the tides, I recommend this article, although, okay, you're going to probably have to pay for it or something. Really great. This guy was bloodthirsty and evil, and he would kill your ass if he didn't like you. And they overturned him basically with concerts, stickers, and t-shirts. Funded, may I say, by America. We gave them millions of dollars to run t-shirts, and we did training. We did nonviolent training with these people, okay? I can never remember the name of these people. You're going to find it out. You got to, if you want, look, Otpor. Yeah, Otpor. So anyways, this article talks about the integration of America in the Milosevic uprising. So, and Otpor was the group that really ran this. Dang it. Google knows what I want. Book on revolution. I don't know why I can never remember the name of this book. Blueprint for a Revolution. Jeez, it took long. That was painful. Please, everyone, if you want to have a revolution, which I highly encourage you do, because it's fun and it helps society, it's win-win. It's a win-win. Please go read Blueprint for a Revolution. Get it today. Here's a link. Blueprint for a Revolution. Highly interesting. It says how to use rice pudding, Lego men, and other nonviolent techniques to galvanize communities, overthrow dictators, or simply change the world. Really great. He likes to use the word nonviolent because he's living in a world where violent means Molotov cocktails and guns and bombs and crazy ass shit. I like, I don't know. I think violent for me means hurting people. I think that's what, I guess, and that, yeah, maybe he would agree with me, right? So yeah, I really caution against killing people like John Brown did. I think John Brown used violence perfectly. John Brown is my hero. Number one hero. A, because he lived in Akron, Ohio, like me. And B, because he got shit done. He started the Civil War and he elected Lincoln, who was a moderate, but somehow, because he was so worried about keeping the Union together, which was a great idea, started the Civil War, and now we don't have slavery. Okay? So, John Brown is awesome. Now, I just need to make that very clear. Like, I'm not against violence, but I'm against it 95% of the time. Because violence is going to polarize your groupings. It's going to make your tent smaller. Your tent must get bigger, okay? You must include everyone, and Black Lives Matter. I'm talking the people that everybody's been chastising me this week on. Trump supporters that believe in Black Lives Matter. John Brown is an American patriot. Yes. And a traitor and a terrorist. Yes. All of those words apply to John Brown. And my number one hero of activism. So, look, if anti-gay people are going to support you on Black Lives Matter, you're a friend, okay? If rich people are going to support you on Black Lives Matter, they're a friend. If poor people are going to support you, if people from Amsterdam, England, if you're on the same page with Black Lives Matter, nothing else matters. You're friends. All of you. Don't even talk about the stuff you're against. That's just manipulation, propaganda, pushed by the two-party system trying to divide us. When we're talking about Black Lives Matter, if you're all on the same page with Black Lives Matter, nothing else matters at this point. Okay? I'm telling you, a gay man can stand side by side with an anti-gay hater on Black Lives Matter. You've got to. After Black Lives Matter, we can have another discussion. Okay? You gotta understand that about revolution. If you believe you can't be friends with MAGAs, anti-gay people, conservatives, liberals, rich people, poor people, white trash, hillbillies, anybody that supports Black Lives Matter, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. You got to make your tent bigger, people. You got to make it bigger. Don't think about the other issues when you're fighting for one issue. Okay? All right. We're keeping going. I got to tell you this stuff. The fugitive slave law. Remember that. Fugitive slave law. That's what I believe pushed John Brown into becoming the violent asshole that he was and needed to be, because the slave people were winning. Because it required all citizens to cooperate with the capture of fugitive slaves in all America. Okay? Woo! Okay, in May of 1856, pro-slavery raiders, okay, people on the slavery side, sacked Lawrence, Kansas in an orgy. God, this guy's a good writer. Of burning and looting. Almost simultaneously, Brown learned that Charles Sumner of Massachusetts, the most outspoken abolitionist in the U.S. Senate, had been beaten senseless on the floor of the chamber by a cane-wielding congressman from South Carolina. Okay? Do you understand how things happen? Nothing happens in a vacuum. Everything happens in a vacuum when we're reading history books. John Brown, murderer. John Brown sees in Lawrence, Kansas, pro-slavery raiders sacking and burning and looting, and then an outspoken abolitionist gets beaten with a senseless on a cane on the chambers of the Senate. Brown raged at the North's apparent helplessness. Advised to act with restraint, he retorted, "Caution, caution, sir. I'm eternally tired of hearing the word caution." Hallelujah, my man. You know how long I hear that word? Slow down, Sage. Come on, Sage. That's not how we do it, Sage. We got to do it better, Sage. We got to do it right. We got to work with the people, Sage. We got to work with we got to talk. Have you talked to the mayor? Have I talked to the mayor? Ask me that one more time. Have I talked to the mayor? Does talking to the mayor get anybody shelter? No, God damn it. I am eternally tired of hearing the word caution. It is nothing but the word of cowardice. Do you hear me? A party of free staters led by Brown dragged 5 pro-slavery men out of their isolated cabins on eastern Kansas Pottawatomie Creek and hacked them to death with cutlasses. Hacked them to death. The horrific nature of the murders disturbed even abolitionists because they're all just pansy-ass moderates. Oh no. Brown was imprinted, unrepentant. This to the guy that said that John Brown, you and I totally know about the futility. Yes, Jane, it is ridiculous. Every activist hears that word. Wait. They all get a stop sign. Every time you get a stop sign. Every time. Let's come together, says Alec. Yes, a Woodstock would be good. Hand out free marijuana. Have a bunch of condoms. Marijuana and condoms. Everybody get together. It'll be a happier place. Marijuana and condoms. It's really what they should just be on every street corner. Where else? So then this guy was like, oh, the guy over here on the listening earlier, John Brown didn't want to be violent. He regretted it. No, he did not regret it. He said Brown was unrepentant. God is my judge, he laconically replied when asked to account for his actions. Though he was a wanted man who hid out for a time, Brown eluded capture in the anarchic conditions that pervaded Kansas. Indeed, almost no one pro-slavery or anti-slavery was ever arraigned in court for killings that took place during the guerrilla war there. The murders, however, ignited reprisals. Pro-slavery border ruffians raided free staters' homesteads. Abolitionists fought back. Hamlets were burned. Farms abandoned. Brown's son, Frederick, who had participated in the Pottawatomie Creek Massacre. Would somebody name a team the Pottawatomie Creeks? Love that word. Was shot dead by a pro-slavery man. Although Brown survived many brushes with his opponents, he seemed to sense his own fate. In August of 1856, he told his son Jason, I have only a short time to live, only one death to die, and I will die fighting for this cause. By almost any definition, the Pottawatomie killings were a terrorist act. You can't deny it. John Brown was a terrorist and a traitor. intended to sow fear in slavery's defenders. That's why he's so amazingly complicated and why you need to think about him. Brown viewed slavery as a state of war against blacks, a system of, have you ever heard these words before? Torture, rape, oppression, and murder. It's still the same America, people, and saw himself as a soldier in the army of the Lord against slavery, says Reynolds. Kansas was Brown's trial by fire, his initiation into violence, his preparation for real war, he says. By 1859, when he raided Harper's Ferry, Brown was ready, in his own words, to take the war into Africa, that is, into the South. This guy is a badass gangster. This is Apocalypse Now. He truly is Colonel Kurtz. The horror, the horror. In January 1858, Brown left Kansas to seek support for his planned southern invasion. In April, he sought out a diminutive former slave, Harriet Tubman, who had made 8 secret trips to Maryland's eastern shore to lead dozens of slaves north to freedom. Brown was so impressed that he began referring to her as General Tubman. For her part, she embraced Brown as one of the few whites she had ever met who shared her belief that anti-slavery work was a life and death struggle. And death. Not and marching, a life and marching struggle. And with some singing. No. Tubman thought Brown was the greatest white man who ever lived. Bam! And Kate Clifford Larson, author of The Bound from the Promised Land, Harriet Tubman, Portrait of an American Hero. The greatest white man who ever lived. That's such a hot statement. I'm so competitive. I'm like, I want to be the greatest white man who ever lived. Can't do it. Too chicken shit and lazy. Chicken and lazy. I ain't got time to be making raids and trying to pull down statues and shit. I'm already 48 years old. Brown by this time was like 59. He's out doing this crazy crap. I'm like, did you hear Hamlet was on Disney? I got that to do today. Having secured financial backing from wealthy abolitionists known as the Secret Six. I got to learn who these are. I bet there's some people from Akron, by the way. Brown returned to Kansas in mid-1858. In December, he led 12 fugitive slaves on an epic journey, from Kansas eastward, dodging pro-slavery guerrillas and marshals' posses and fighting and defeating a force of United States troops. Upon reaching Detroit, they were ferried across the Detroit River to Canada. Brown had covered nearly 1,500 miles in 82 days. Proof to doubters, he felt sure that he was capable of making the subterranean passway a reality. So while he's still a total terrorist gangster, he's actually getting shit done too. Okay? He's not just some wackadoodle, I need to murder some people kind of guy. He's still moving slaves to Canada. That's the beauty of him, multidimensional. Whew. With his secret 6 war chest, Brown purchased hundreds of sharps, carabines, and thousands of pikes, which he planned to arm the first wave of slaves. So this is where he goes totally bananas. He expected to flock to his banner once he occupied Harper's Ferry. So basically, he's going to take Harper's Ferry. Thousands of slaves are going to rise up and murder their masters. That's the plan. Many thousands more would then be armed with rifles stored at the federal arsenal there. When I strike, the bees will swarm. He's talking about these slaves that will uprise. Brown assured Frederick Douglass, whom he urged to sign on as president of the provisional government. Brown also expected Tubman to help him recruit young men for his Revolutionary Army, and says Larson to help infiltrate the countryside before the raid, encourage local blacks to join Brown, and when the time came, to be at his side like a soldier. Ultimately, neither Tubman nor Douglass participated in the raid. Douglass, because he's a freaking intelligent human being, was sure the venture would fail and warned Brown that he was getting into a perfect steel trap that he would not get out alive. Tubman may have concluded that if Brown's plan failed, the Underground Railroad would be destroyed in the routes. Tubman just was like, I'm busy. I can't be doing all that. I got other things to do, crazy white man. But I love you. I love you. It did not deter him. 61 miles northwest of Washington, D.C., at the junction of Potomac and Shenandoah Rivers, Harper's Ferry was the site of a major federal army armory, including a musket factory, a rifle works, and arsenal, several large mills, and an important railroad junction. It was one of the most heavily industrialized towns south of the Mason-Dixon line, says Fry. It was also a cosmopolitan town with a lot of Irish and German immigrants. Maybe that's why he got this thing by the German people. Because there was a town with cosmopolitan Irish and German immigrants and even Yankees who worked in the industrial factories. The town and its environs, populated 3,000, included about 300 African Americans, evenly divided between slave and free. But more than 18,000 slaves, the bees, Brown expected to swarm, lived in the surrounding counties. Brown has one fundamental flaw. He thinks everybody's got balls of steel like him. Hell no. This is insanity. As his men stepped off the railway bridge into town that October night in 1859, Brown dispatched contingents to seize the musket factory, rifle works, arsenal, and adjacent brick fire engine house. 3 men remained in Maryland to guard weapons that Brown hoped to distribute to slaves who joined him. I want to free all the Negroes in this state, he told one of his first hostages, a night watchman. If the citizens interfere with me, I must only burn the town and have blood. Oh, that guy. It's awesome. Guards were posted at the bridges. Telegraph lines were cut. The railroad station was seized. It was there that the raid's first casualty occurred, when a porter, a free black man named Hayward Shepard, challenged Brown's men and was shot to death in the dark. Once key locations had been secured, Brown sent a detachment to seize several prominent local slave owners, including Colonel Lewis W. Washington, a great-grandnephew of the first president. So the first casualty, free black man. Bum, bum, bum. The plot thickens, ladies and gentlemen. The plot thickens. Early reports claimed that Harper's Ferry had been taken by 50, then 150, then 200 white insurrectionists and 600 runaway Negroes. Do you remember the number? 19. 19. It made it look like 200 because Brown is a crazy motherfucker. Crazy. Brown expected to have 1,500 men under his command by midday Monday. Remember, this was on Sunday night. You remember? Later, he believed that he would eventually have an army as many as 5,000 slaves because he has this convoluted belief that everybody else is brave and, not scared shitless. But the bees did not swarm because, this is an insane plan. Everybody knew it except John Brown and those 18 other crazies. Only a handful of slaves lent Brown assistance. Instead, as Brown's band watched dawn break over the craggy ridges enclosing Harper's Ferry, local white militias, similar to today's National Guard, were hastening to arms. Get some hand-stitched boon goods, ladies and gentlemen. Back to our episode. First to arrive were the Jefferson Guards from nearby Charlestown, uniformed in blue with tall black Mexican War era shakos, which I don't even know what are, on their heads. They had those shakos on their heads, ladies and gentlemen. And brandishing 58 caliber rifles, that sounds like they're big, they seized the railway bridge, killing a former slave named Dangerfield Newby and cutting Brown off from his route of escape. Newby had gone north in a failed attempt to earn enough money to buy freedom for his wife and 6 children. In his pocket was a letter from his wife. I know. It is said, "Master is in want of money," she had written. "I know not what time he may sell me, and then all my bright hopes of the future are blasted. For there has been one bright hope to cheer me in all my troubles. That is to be with you." This is a love story, ladies and gentlemen. There's love in this story. I wish, of all wishes, that Quentin Tarantino would do the Harper Ferris story. God, that would be great, wouldn't it? Please, God, if there is a God, may Quentin Tarantino please redo the Harper's Ferry story. As the day progressed, armed units poured in from Frederick, Maryland, Martinsburg, and Shepherdstown, Virginia, and elsewhere. Brown and his raiders were soon surrounded. He and a dozen of his men held out in the engine house, a small but formidable brick building with stout oak doors in front. Other small groups remained holed up in the musket factory and rifle works. Acknowledging their increasingly dire predicament, Brown sent out New Yorker William Thompson bearing a white flag to propose a ceasefire. But Thompson was captured and held in the Galt House, a local hotel. Brown then dispatched his son Watson, 24, and ex-cavalryman Aaron Stevens, also under a white flag, but the militiamen shot them down in the street. Damn you, militiamen! Watson, although fatally wounded, managed to crawl back to the engine house. Stephen, shot 4 times, was arrested. Apparently that guy's a badass too. 4 shots, don't keep that guy down. When the militia stormed the rifle works, the 3 men inside dashed for the shallow Shenandoah, that's a river, hoping to wade across it. 2 of them, John Kagi, vice president of Brown's provisional government, and Lewis Leary, an African-American, shot dead in the water. Bam! Bam! The black Oberlin student, remember him? John Copeland, obviously intelligent and amazing, but also balls of brass, steel, and iron ore, reached a rock in the middle of the river where he threw down his gun and surrendered. What do you think's going to happen to him? 20-year-old William Lehman slipped out of the engine house hoping to make contact with the 3 men Brown had left on his back up in Maryland. Lehman plunged into the Potomac and swam for his life. Trapped on an islet, or is it an islet? I don't know. He was shot dead as he tried to surrender. These people were pissed. Throughout the afternoon, bystanders took pot shots at his body. Woo! Everybody being angry, okay? Everybody getting out their anger through loopholes. Whatever happens to this John Copeland, put a pin in that name. Okay, John Copeland. Okay, Oberlin student. Through loopholes, small openings through the guns which could be fired that they had drilled in the engine house thick doors, Brown's men tried to pick off their attackers without much success. But one of their shots, however, killed the town's mayor, Fontaine Beckham, enraging the local citizenry. Not Fontaine! The anger at that moment was uncontrollable, says Fry. A tornado of rage swept over them. A vengeful mob, you killed Fontaine, pushed its way into the Galt House where William Thompson was being held prisoner. They dragged him onto the rail trestle, shot him in the head. Damn, Mabel, I think that was a freaking... I think you just killed a hostage, y'all. They dragged him on the rail trestle, shot him in the head as he begged for his life, tossed him over the railing into the Potomac. People are enraged. Can't we just go, ransack a Target, everybody? Calm down? No? Okay. By nightfall, conditions inside the engine house had grown desperate. Brown's men had not eaten more than 24 hours. Man, those got the grum bellies. Only 4 remained unwounded. The bloody corpse of the slain raiders. Raiders, not the football team, including Brown's 20-year-old son, Oliver, lay at their feet. God, this Brown guy is just the biggest gangster you've ever met in your life. They knew there was no hope of escape. 11 white hostages and 2 or 3 of their slaves were pressed against the back wall, utterly terrified. Holy shit, what have we gotten ourselves into? I told you that John Brown was crazy as fuck. Yeah, Frederick fucking Douglass said don't come. I should have listened to him. Oh my God. 2 pumpers and hose carts were pushed. I fell in love with you, Alec. The first encounter you saved my life, and Cloud. I know, the police. I know, bro. You're the best, Alec. I love you, buddy. 2 pumpers and hose carts were pushed against the doors to brace against an assault expected at any moment. Yet, if Brown felt defeated, he didn't show it because he's a motherfucking gangster. And his son Watson, writhing in agony, Brown told him to die as becomes a man. Jesus Christ. This guy, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh, die as a man, son. Damn. At his feet, writhing in agony. Soon, perhaps 1,000 men, many uniformed to discipline, and others just drunk and wanting to get in the action, brandishing weapons from shotguns or old muskets, whatever, would fill the narrow lanes of Harbor Ferry. Hey, John Boy, we get to kill some people today. No way, where? Over at Harper's Ferry. All right, I'll get my musket. All right, see you soon. John Brown's tiny band. President James Buchanan had dispatched a company of Marines from Washington under the command of one of the Army's most promising officers. Bum, bum, bum. Lieutenant Colonel Robert motherfucking Lee. Himself a slave owner. He's like, this is wrong. Lee had only disdain for abolitionists. Yeah, those stupid black people supporting morons. Libtards. That's what he called them. He called them libtards. Who he believed were exacerbating tensions by agitating among slaves and angering masters. You're angering the masters, God bless it. says Elizabeth Brown Pryor, author of Reading the Man, a portrait of Robert E. Lee through his private letters. He held that although slavery was regrettable, it's not awesome. It was an institution sanctioned by God, and as such would disappear only when God ordained it. Only then. That's right. When God says it's, and I don't see he's going to say it very soon. I think God thinks it's good, because black people, they're not that smart. Come on. They need it. They like it. Ask them if they like them. You like it? Oh, yeah, boss, I like it. See, he says he likes it. All right. Says Robert E. Lee, the fucking gangster of the South. Okay. Oh, all right, hold on. Okay. Dressed in civilian clothes, Lee reached Harper's Ferry around midnight. He gathered the 90 Marines behind a nearby warehouse and worked out a plan of attack. In the pre-dawn darkness, Lee's aide, a flamboyant young cavalry lieutenant, listen to this, boldly approached the engine house carrying a white flag. Of course he did. He was met at the door by Brown, listen to this, y'all. He was met at the door by Brown, who asked that he and his men be allowed to retreat across the river to Maryland, where they would free their hostages. The soldier promised only that the raiders would be protected from the mob and put on trial. Well, Lieutenant, I see we can't agree, replied Brown. The lieutenant stepped aside and with his hand gave a prearranged signal of attack. Brown could have shot him dead just as easily as I could a mosquito, he recalled later. Had he done so, the course of the Civil War might have been different. The lieutenant was J.E.B. Stuart, who would go on to serve brilliantly as Lee's cavalry commander. Everybody's on this. The big guns, baby. Right here at Harper's Ferry. Lee first sent several men crawling below the loopholes. Yes, he did. Lee, remember Robert E? To smash, the guy that loves slavery? To smash the door with sledgehammers. But that failed. Damn it. Nah, the sledgehammers didn't work. What are we going to do? I got an idea. A larger party charged the weakened door using a ladder. That's what we'll do, a ladder as a battering ram, punching through the second. This is what we come up with, us leaders. Get a ladder. Punching through the door, their secondary try, Lieutenant Israel Green squirmed through the hole to find himself beneath one of the pumpers, that they put against the door. According to Fry, as Green emerged into the darkened room, one of the hostages pointed to Brown. It's Brown, man, it's Brown. Get him. The abolitionist turned just as Green lunged forward with his saber, striking Brown in the gut, which should have been a death blow. This always happens, this crazy crap. Listen to this. Brown fell, stunned, but astonishingly unarmed. My God. The sword had struck a buckle and bent itself double. Like, damn, that was weird shit, said Brown. With the sword's hilt, Green then hammered Brown's skull until he passed out. Although severely injured, Brown would survive. And check this out. History may be a matter of a quarter of an inch, says Fry. If the blade had struck a quarter of an inch to the left or right, up or down, Brown would have been a corpse, and there would have been no story for him to tell, and there would have been no martyr. Oh, man, the tides turn so on a quarter of an inch, don't they? Meanwhile, the Marines poured through the breach. Brown's men were overwhelmed. One Marine impaled Indian Jeremiah Anderson against a wall. Another bayoneted young Dauphin Thompson, where he lay under a fire engine. Can you give a link to this article? Oh, yeah, sure. So you can read it in peace. It's the Smithsonian Magazine, yo. Check it out. Please read it. Yes. Another bayoneted young Dauphin Thompson, where he lay under a fire engine. It was over in less than 3 minutes, and the 19 men who strode into Harper's Ferry less than 36 hours before, starving because no snacky time. 5 were now prisoners, 10 had been killed or fatally injured. 4 townspeople had also died, including that mayor guy, I can't remember his name already. More than a dozen militiamen were wounded. Only 2 men, of Brown's men escaped the siege. Amid the commotion, Osborne Anderson and Albert Hazlett slipped out the back of the army, climbed a wall, and scuttled down the embankment of the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad to the bank of the Potomac, where they found a boat. Who finds a boat and paddled to the Maryland shore? Hazlett and another of the men whom Brown had left behind to guard supplies were later captured in Pennsylvania and extradited to Virginia. Of the total, 5 members of the raiding party would eventually make their way to safety in the north or Canada. 5 people made it out alive of that bullshit. Yes. Brown and his captured men were charged with treason, first-degree murder, and conspiring with the Negroes to produce insurrection. You can't be conspiring with Negroes now. Don't be stupid. All of the charges carried the death penalty. The trial held in Charlestown, Virginia began on October 26th. The verdict was, you'll be surprised to hear, guilty. And Brown was sentenced on November 2nd. We don't need to prolong all this. Brown met his death stoically because he is a badass. On the morning of December 2nd, 1859, he was led out of the Charlestown jail where he had been held since his capture and seated on a small wagon carrying a white pine coffin. Damn. Being like, I'm going to be in that box any minute now. He handed a note to one of his guards. I, John Brown, am now quite certain that the crimes of this guilty land will never be purged away but with blood. But with blood. Whoever started this show telling me that John Brown was a pacifist can eat that sentence right there. The last words will never be purged away but with blood. Do not whitewash our heroes. Sick of it. Escorted by 6 companies of infantry and transported to a scaffold where at 11:15 a sack was placed over his head and a rope fitted around his neck. Brown told his guard, even Silver Brass Balls Brown said, don't keep me waiting any longer than necessary, okay? Be quick. Come on now. Come on. Chip, chop, chip, chop. These were his last words. Among the witnesses of his death were Robert E. Lee and 2 other men. Check this shit out. 2 other men whose lives would be irrevocably changed by the events of Harper's Ferry. One was a Presbyterian professor from the Virginia Military Institute, Thomas J. Jackson, who would earn the nickname Stonewall, less than 2 years later at the Battle of Bull Run. The other was a young actor with seductive eyes and curly hair, already a fanatical believer in Southern nationalism, John Wilkes Booth. Perhaps you've heard of him. The remaining convicted raiders would be hanged one by one. Where's that Oberlin guy? Anyways, Brown's death stirred blood in the North and South for opposing reasons, okay? We shall be 1,000 times more anti-slavery than we ever dared to think of before being before. Let me read that again. We shall be 1,000 times more anti-slavery than we ever dared to think of being before. Could have really tightened that sentence up, proclaimed the Newburyport, Massachusetts Herald. Some 1,800 years ago, Christ was crucified. Henry David Thoreau opined in a speech in Concord on the day of Brown's execution. This morning, perchance, Captain Brown was hung. These are the 2 ends of a chain which is not without its links. Oh, those are words. Those are words. Oh, those are delicious. He is not old Brown any longer. He is an angel of light, says Henry David motherfucking Thoreau. In 1861, Yankee soldiers would march to battle singing, John Brown's body lies a-mouldering in the grave, but his soul goes marching on the other side of the Mason-Dixon line. This was the South's Pearl Harbor. It's ground zero, says Fry. There was a heightened sense of paranoia, a fear of more abolitionist attacks, that more Browns were coming any day. Everybody thinks everybody's going to be a Brown. There's like one guy like this in history ever. John fucking Brown. This guy is bananas. All of us other people got to watch TV or read the newspaper and talk words. Very stern words, though. The South's greatest fear was slave insurrection. They all knew that if you held 4 million people in bondage, surprisingly, you're vulnerable to attack. Weird. Militias sprang up across the South. In town after town, units organized, armed, and drilled. When war broke out in 1861, 18 months later, after he got hung, they would provide the Confederacy with tens of thousands of well-trained soldiers, in effect. 18 months before Fort Sumter, the South was already declaring war against the North, says Fry. Brown gave them the unifying momentum they needed, a common cause based on preserving the chains of slavery. I love that article. I love it. I love it. Look, we don't need to be John Brown. We don't need to murder people. I don't recommend it. I'm not recommending murdering people. I don't think it's a good idea. It's just cathartic to murder people. John Brown murdered people because it pushed his cause. See, this is the problem with most causes. Like you take Occupy Wall Street. Highly regarded as one of the great failures of activism, because they occupied it, they brought all these people together, and then nobody knew what the hell to do. John Brown, everybody knew what John Brown wanted. He wanted the end of slavery. And he's like, look, I want to end slavery. He took his message and boiled it down. You didn't need to read a lot of papers. You didn't need a pamphlet, really. He's like, slavery bad. Way bad. Mooey, mooey bad. Okay? And then everything John Brown did, you're like, well, you know, John Brown says we should end slavery. Well, yes, screw John Brown. Screw him. This is the problem with so many uprisings. This is the threat of today's uprising. What the hell do you want? What the hell do you want? Because every march, every can of spray paint, every sticker, every song is fun and gets a little bit of press for a while. If you don't follow it up with because I want this, then it's eventually just going to die out. You got to know what you want. Okay, like with me, you know what I want? I want people to be able to shelter somewhere, okay? It's real simple. Real simple, all right? Look, in fact, I have on the Houseless Movement, houselessmovement.org, I have demands for Akron Houseless Movement, okay? And I have them here. Here they are. You can download them, blah, blah, blah. The number one that I put in the bottom because I don't want it to get lost is the right to live in sanctioned villages, okay? 24 hour, 7 day a week access to water, toilets, and warmth. Shelter that provides a space for people with partners or pets. Shelter that works to get providers on site to necessary services. Shelter with a lights out curfew of no earlier than 10. Shelter that allows us to bring one book and small personal flashlight to read in bed. Shelter that permits us to keep our wallets, purses, and phones with us at all times. Shelter that permits us to wear our own personal clothing, including shorts and shoes. Shelter that provides curtains or doors for shower and toilet privacy. Shelter that does not require group showering. Shelter that does not require prayer or church sermons in order to receive services. Shelter that provides a way to securely store personal belongings, but with ease of access and availability. This is what I want, okay? Now, when you know what I want, and I start yelling and I start doing stuff, then I can hand this flyer and be like, I want this. But here's the other thing. This is going to take forever. We finally got a porta potty at an unsanctioned camp because of COVID. And I felt like I had just walked on the moon. Because that was huge. It was huge. One porta potty is like walking on the moon in homeless rights. It's not because I can't afford a porta potty. It's because they won't let me put one in. They won't let me put one. The word is, what do they call it? Encouraging them. By giving human beings a porta potty, I am encouraging them. Okay? Do you sense my rage? Do you sense my hatred of people that say to other human beings, you can't have a toilet because it is encouraging you? To what? Not piss in the woods? See, I don't even want to talk about houses. Other people, everybody talks about houses. I don't give a shit about houses. Look, houses are a pipe dream. You think you're going to put all the homeless people in houses? You are insane. You are the crazy one. We can't afford it. We cannot afford it. And furthermore, I don't believe it is sustainable to make the government pay for any of this shit. You have to make it fit in the system in which we lived, capitalism, of which I'm no great fan, but it's the system we're in, and if you can't make it work in capitalism, it's not going to work. That's why Community First Village, when it costs $300 a month in Houston, Texas, is effective and what we need, because it's all privately funded. It's all privately funded. You got to have clear things. If we want to be around Freedom Block, let's be around Freedom Block. Let's get those flyers printed up. Let's hand them out all the time, every time. Okay? You got to know what you want. There's two things I want you to take away from this. You got to know what you want, and you got to tell it over and over again like a marketing expert. And you need to make your tent bigger. You got to make your tent bigger. Do not let them divide us. You're going to be friends with people you never thought you'd be friends with before. I'm telling you. But if you're together on Black Lives Matter, even if you're not together on the how-to, you're still friends. You're still together. Your tent needs to be bigger, and you got to have clear results. That's why John Brown won. Because we all knew what John Brown wanted, and John Brown won. Now, we have slavery by other names here in America, called the prison system, where we house 25% of all prisoners in the world in a country that represents 4% of the total global population. See that? 25% of prisoners in the world live in America. Okay? We have just made slavery in the prison system, because you should watch the 13th, but 13th Amendment, I need you to read this, because this is how we created slavery. Okay, here it is. Neither slavery nor, see, it's so good. Like, oh, good. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment of crime. Who put that in there? Whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. So they're like, fine, we love it. We'll take the 13th Amendment. We're going to put everybody in jail for smoking marijuana. Smoking marijuana. We got you. You were duly convicted. Now get to work. Get to work. And all these corporations, who uses prison? Okay, what companies use prison labor? Okay, list of the 49 American companies that use prison labor. Here they are: Victoria's Secret, Whole Foods, Walmart, Microsoft, Starbucks, BP, Nintendo, AT&T, Target, Unicor. Unicor produces helmets and military for the Department of Defense. Dell, Eddie Bauer, Kmart, Boeing, Macy's, Wendy's, Verizon, McDonald's, Revlon, JCPenney, Sprint, Honda, Fruit of the Loom, Intel, Nordstrom, Motorola, the Koch Industries, Fidelity Investments, Pfizer, Sara Lee, Avis Rent-A-Car, Exxon, Nortel, Bank of America, Procter & Gamble, Texas Instruments, Shell Oil Company, United Parcel, Hewlett-Packard, Caterpillar, IBM, Johnson & Johnson, Cargill, GlaxoSmithKline, Mary Kay, United Airlines, State Farm Insurance, American Express, Honeywell are using slave labor because we call it something else. We call them prisoners now because they oftentimes got caught up on the war on drugs, because it is terrible to do whatever the fuck you want with your own body. It's terrible. You need to go to jail and get busy with all those companies. People, I love you. I love you. I love you. I hope you're having a good time fighting the fight of humanity. This is worth it. There is nothing more important in the world than helping us all move forward together. Nothing is more important than that. We are like bees. We are part of a hive, and we work together. And that's what God has been yelling at us for thousands of years. Work together, work together, work together. And maybe we will learn that message a little bit better. It's all that matters, everybody. Work together. I love you. I'll see you later. Bye.